Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of the Seercast. This week we will be talking a lot about Runefest, what happened last week, and other events in coming up in the future. With me today is Ballor.
I'm a cat meow.
Geena.
Oh, buying Moverio. That's it.
Fang.
Well, hello. Come across my little abode.
Oh. Ernj.
So last cast was a thing?
Yes, it was. Lime.
Do I really sound like this?
Runic.
I killed a Raxor. Turns out that increases Walter's rage meter.
Kitten.
I apologize in advance if I wake up any small children.
Poor Jack.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's great. Surveillance.
Oh, hello there.
And we have Walter and Thorlah in the chat. So, Runefest happened last week, and yes, it did in fact happen. We did have 6 J-mods on the Seercast. If you have not seen that, it is on the YouTube. We have tweeted about it, and you should go watch it, because a lot of the stuff we'll talk about with regards to lore today will be dealing with that. But yes, the other stuff
and you get to see my glorious face.
Yes, you get to see Lime, Kitten, and Ballor's glorious faces. Speaking
I think Blizzardy's in there too.
Yeah, and Blizzardy. He just followed us, and we're like, hey, come here. It was good. Really good.
Yeah, and you get to see them with 6 J-mods. 6.
Mm-hmm.
6 of
Count
them.
More than there were us there.
I want to reemphasize how freaking many J-mods there were there. And before we say anything, I have to thank all the J-mods that did watch, or that did join and that do watch. We appreciate your support greatly.
Yes.
A lot.
As said 50 times before, but we can't reiterate that enough.
Yeah, we really can't.
Yeah.
But, moving on, we're going to start with content updates, the content stuff that was revealed at Runefest. First thing I want to mention is Rune Labs. Basically, players submitted ideas that will get put into a voting system, and it's kind of sounds similar to like a Reddit kind of style upvote system. And those that get the most support will likely go into the game.
Basically, they said they're gonna put them on, basically the ones that win will go into a group of polls. Mm-hmm. The ones that get the most support. So,
after they've been screened.
Yeah, after they've been screened. So it's like a very long process.
Yeah.
If your idea, don't expect everybody in their cat to get their idea in. Highly selective.
But
yeah,
it's
we also...
So, now with even more nostalgia.
Well, the thing is, it wasn't in our podcast, but after a while at Runefest, we ended up speaking to, I think it was Mod Jack, and someone asked the question, well, what if someone recommends, a horrible, stupid, awful, this is purely for screwing around update to the game and it gets upvoted? Basically they still have a say of, it's not 100% set in stone to be an update, even if it gets the most votes a million times, because it could be the most game-breaking, horrible train wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to bet that there's going to be a couple remove EOC threads that go around for a little while.
Of course, there's always that.
Really
but a certain someone tweeted at was it Stu, or just tweeted in general that they were worried about. That they were worried about the game breaking from some of this, and Stu specifically said, unlike many players, they being Jagex, cares about the balance of the game. So, yeah.
I was probably crying at how glorious it was.
That's a valid point.
I tweeted to him mod tips, and I asked him if we can just see how many horses requests are going to be given. I want official stats. How many horses requests do we get?
Oh my god.
Would you complain? If
there was exactly one horse at Runefest. This much should be said. And that was Kitten.
Yes.
But yeah, so...
but it's it's pretty much like an updated version of the suggestions forum, like
More
a
official.
really modernized version, so that people will actually see it.
Yeah, it's more official than the suggestions forum too. But
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah,
speaking
it's
with Stu with
gonna
this
be pretty nice.
during
Sorry.
the after. I was speaking with Stu with this during the after party, and he stated that. Well, no. I believe Mark also said this in the RS 2015. And he said that you have to boil down the idea to one or two sentences. So you can't go into this big, long, elaborate, quest suggestion, no matter how much I'd want to do that.
Rip
or
Fang.
would want to do that. You can't do that. You have to boil it down to one or two sentences, so you actually have to be kinda like a developer. Because
that's true.
any idea that goes over one or two sentences is not a good idea. You have to be able to explain it simply.
Yeah, it's
But,
more. Well, it's more of just pitch an idea and actually have the people who are more. I don't want to say people aren't aware of what's going on in the game as players, but the developers have more pull, I guess. So they make it work while you just give the suggestion.
Yeah. They'll be able to
Yeah,
finish
that
Also,
sounds about right.
Also, it makes it easier for the developers to screen.
yeah, way
Yeah.
easier.
Oh yeah.
It also makes it so that any game-breaking suggestion isn't as game-breaking. Because then the developers can screw with it within a huge realm of, they can really mess around with it to make it less game-breaking. Or not
Yeah.
game-breaking.
Yeah.
And before people rage that it doesn't
I'm
break
sure
the
people
game.
will complain about it, but
Yeah. Well, people complain about everything. Just look at Twitter.
Oh yeah.
Somebody could suggest, we should be able to paint a sword. And then
We
Jagex could
totally
come up
should
with
be
this
able to paint swords.
Diamps. And anyways.
suggested Runic.
Yes.
But anyways.
paint swords. Don't you want to paint swords?
No.
How suggested that Seercast becomes the official Jagex Law podcast.
And
Don't they already have one of those?
Yeah. Anyway.
yeah, anyways, moving on. So that's Rune Labs' interesting suggestion. But also they are talking about future quests. So we'll go ahead and start with the 200th quest, which is basically Scape Rune in quest form.
Yay.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
It's what if there were no heroes in Gielinor? What if no one had made that cake? Because we know that Cook's Assistant is the most difficult quest in the game. What if no one found the truth of the Artie Plague? What if the bacon cultists had eaten all the pigs? Rip Maud Osborne.
And actually, I'd just like to say that Cook's Assistant is not the most difficult quest in the game. It was Sheep Herder before the update.
That
Yeah.
Why must you always remind us?
Weird. I never actually had any trouble doing sheep herder.
No,
Yeah,
it was
me
still
neither.
terrible. Shush. No. It's still terrible.
During the quest run, it made me want to cry, and it was still better than it used to be.
I don't even
I
remember
literally
that.
finished the quest in 20 minutes.
Lucky you.
I don't even remember that quest. That's probably for the best.
Shush.
Anyways, but yeah, they had an example of what if we voted Varrock, which hey look, we have what Varrock might look like if Varrock did win the poll. It's like Zemmereagle is bored. He took the throne of Varrock, and no one has tried to stop him. Arav is apparently bad at fetch. He took Gertrude's kittens, and turned them into war beasts of terror, which have subsequently become fat, lazy, and overgrown. There's also stuff about eating cakes of King Rold, Rip Thorlah, and Delrith doing silly things.
Silly.
It's really stupid what he did.
Yeah. Turning his staff into zombies for pronouncing his name wrong. Yeah, but yeah,
These are the villains we have to defeat
yes.
in this game.
As long as
Truly
there's Evil
serious.
Dave, I'm okay with this.
I'm still certain that I want Evil Dave's mother to actually be revealed as the true mastermind.
Yeah, totally. That would be the best thing ever.
Like, my suggestion for the Zamorak heist was that, Evil Dave tries to go and is recruited, but his mother wouldn't let him go and goes instead.
Oh dear God. That would be amazing.
Where she's just like, honey, no, it's too dangerous for you, and then you turn up at the heist spot, and she's standing there, like, ready to go.
Sounds too Kim Possible-esque.
It would be beautiful. Oh my god, that would be better.
In other news,
That's not a bad thing.
Jack actually tweeted about having Lornab in the 200th quest.
Yeah.
In the,
I guess we can consider that one
in the alternate reality where Lornab actually existed. Where Lornab lore was in the game. Oh
I
god.
just linked his tweet in the chat.
Oh god. Let me see this tweet.
Yeah, God,
Nope.
they're gonna have so much trouble fitting Lornab into that quest, but at least Varrock is winning, so like it's still regionally close, you know?
Yeah.
Oh please, he'll be in Tolna's Rift.
Yeah, which is right next to Varrock.
Yep.
It's kind of handy for them.
But
Lime, Kitten, which JMod was it that said that he was actually in there? I know one of them actually said
that
it
was
was
Jack.
at Runefest.
was it Jack?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was a joke, but I hope it wasn't.
I remember Jack saying that, it was about the haunted house quest, Broken Home, but that's something else.
Yeah.
That is...
Usually they like to tease us when we ask about Lornab, though.
Oh yeah, I
know
mean it's so
Timbo.
easy. But yeah, so basically the quest is about being put in an alternative Gielinor and countering jokes, references, and adding a bunch of favorite characters. So it's kind of a silly-ish quest, but at the same time it's... Well, yeah, I mean... It looks interesting, let's just put it that way. It looks very interesting.
It's gonna be another RFD.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be low.
And before another Cakeface.
Oh no. that was actually a mistake. So
Well,
yeah.
hey, to be fair, they're doing a Dominion Tower update soon, so who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe
so now they're gonna
face.
Yeah, they're gonna break Cakeface to be like a horrible demon. I don't know. Can we just have stretchy glitches on everybody?
Cakeface is already a horrible demon.
Cakeface
Yeah,
as
that's
a
true.
demon. Oh dear.
Cakeface hard mode, Fox.
Cakeface hard mode. Watch them
Well,
just do that for hard mode. They just multiply everything
much
by
support.
10.
Wouldn't it kind of be the same thing as fighting a Bizroth in a way?
Just add an extra zero.
Heat. Yeah, add a couple more zeros.
Oh, that's not hard enough? Here, have a 0.
Yeah, basically.
Cakeface hard mode blocks.
Yeah, hey, Chriselle, get on that.
But I'm suggesting Rune Labs.
Oh my god. And see, that's within two sentences. Mod Chris L, give us Cakeface hard mode. Period.
Yeah.
1 sentence. Done.
Yeah. Exactly.
Almost.
We're already practicing this Rune Labs thing. They got it right.
Yep.
This is how you do it.
It's about a release date for it, speaking of.
Wait, do we know a
Actually,
release date?
Yeah, for Rune Labs to
I
start.
think that may have been the only thing that the crowd didn't ask when the release date would be. Honestly, they asked for release dates for everything, and they gave the same in 2015 answer for all of them.
That Jim
I mean,
had
it's
like
smooth.
smirk when he
I'm
got to
missing-
say. That was so funny when they asked, when is Chronicle coming out, and that Jim just smirks and goes, 2015. He knew that was going to be the answer.
I'm going to assume that they'll probably launch Rune Labs at the beginning of the year,
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
like the player power
Likely.
votes.
That sounds likely.
Yeah, maybe like
Makes
January,
sense.
February, something like that. But yeah,
Anyway.
so that's the 200th quest. There's also the Elder God research quest that we know, that we've already known about, we voted on. In this quest, a well-known hero seems to have gone mad and has stolen a spell able to teleport the Abyss into Gielinor. Walter puts
Which
in the
is
thread
fine.
a few possible options, such as Ariane, Xenia, Kenneth or Sland the Green.
Oh, Sland.
I am actually
Yeah.
super curious what hero they're going to use.
It sounds
Wow.
like Ariane,
Mad.
but
That would make the most sense to me,
yeah.
but I'm so curious.
I
What-
honestly think it's going to be Ariane.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Walter would also.
Yeah.
She isn't
Walter
exactly a
would
well-known
also-
hero, though.
I think actually, well, hold on. We will team up with the Wizard's Tower and build a rune golem, to help us out. And,
Yeah.
and so there's a line bot in the quest too. But it sounds like we're gonna be teaming up with Ariane to help the person who's gone mad and someone else. But it's hard to say, like, I don't know.
It's kind of vague.
Watch it be someone
I
we've
don't-
never heard of before.
I don't
be
think
the
that the
Raptor?
Wizard's Tower would help. We would team up with the Wizard's Tower to go and bother Ariane. To, like,
Yeah. I don't think they particularly care about it, though the fact that it does tie into the Abyss does tie into them pretty heavily.
yeah.
So,
It
who
sounds
knows?
like, I mean, it sounds like Ariane will be in the quest in some way or another.
Is she still banned from the tower? I can't remember.
I think technically yes, which is
Yeah.
why I was saying that I don't think they would,
So-
the Wizard's
Yeah,
Tower
then
would
she-
fall all
And
over
she
themselves
can't
to
be
help.
the person. She can't be the person that steals it because she can't go into the tower.
Guys,
Yeah.
I think I have the answer.
What?
Treyborn finally lost it completely.
Oh god.
Hey, he was the one that single-handedly stopped the invasion of the tower by the wise old man in Xenobivia.
Think of me
He's
what?
truly a hero.
Truly a hero. Oh my.
Truly.
I can totally see, with Jagex humor, I can totally see a well-known hero being Treyborn.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Yeah.
start of the quest, we're like, he's a well-known hero? And they're like, yeah? And they act all offended that you don't know what a hero Treyborn is.
Could it be the Raptor?
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Could be the Raptor. But I can't see the
Trey-
Raptor stealing a spell to teleport something.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
wouldn't
probably
want to see him
If
stealing a
stealing that
to
spell would
pick up.
kill lots of things, I'm pretty sure the Raptor would still do it.
It doesn't sound like it would kill
possible.
lots of things.
Yeah, they did say
Sounds
the
like it would
hero
look
had gone
like
mad.
this. I for one am really expecting a lot of Elder Scrolls Online references in this though, because the plot of the quest, like bringing the Abyss to Gielinor, is basically the plot of Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
Curious if that's on purpose.
Why not?
Beforehand.
the line bot in the quest acts as a magical bloodhound that kind of sniffs down our target, kind of like what they did with what was it, recruitment? No, Wanted. What they did
Yeah.
with Wanted. It's to be extra sensitive to teleport spells.
Sounds like
I'd just like to
while
I just
Gothic
like-
sleeps.
I'd just like to point out that that when I asked Deg what one of the mechanics would be in this quest, he said maybe that we're going to have to sit through 8,000 lines of code in order to find a missing semicolon.
Oh
Dang.
god.
Oh, Deg.
Thank you, Deg.
I sent some hard feelings from him where he had to do that recently.
Deg, why do you do this?
Well, have a Deg face. Anyways, but yeah, the quest is about setting the scene and unearthing information about the Elders, meeting them and discovering their plans. We'll have to wait for later. But we already kind of
Because-
knew that.
Because
And that's
we don't
fine. I
have
want them to take this slow.
Yeah.
Give us as many
Yeah.
quests as you can possibly fit in.
Yeah. It'll be very nice to, like, hopefully finally get, like, some proper information about the three that we don't really know as well.
I believe they mentioned that this quest was going to be, yes, we will have to spend some time figuring out where to go for said research quest. So it's going to kind of have the same one-of-a-kind feel, except hopefully without the wilderness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully
Yay.
without the kind of disjointed feel that we felt during One of a Kind. But I feel like this quest is going to be the answer, well, possibly some of the answers to all of those magic and anima questions that have been popping up recently. And if you
That would-
watch the lore maker, you will see that at least 70% of the questions were all about magic or
Yeah,
anima.
we'll mention
or
that a
the
little
old
bit later
quest.
too.
That's a really good point.
Alright.
So yeah, this will hopefully whet our appetites.
Yes. And since most of us are like super into that kind of the magic lore, like Yeah,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to this quest. It's supposed to be what, November, December? They
November
said
is
definitely
November
before
is
the
their
end of the year.
goal, but definitely this year.
Okay. But yeah, so that is the quest. There's also a Christmas event coming up. It's the Winter Gielinor Games, which is kind of like the Winter X Games for RuneScape. Also, there's a ports expansion. We've known about this for a while now. It's going to be agility.
Can I chat about this?
Huh?
I want to chat a bit about this.
Okay.
Alright, so it's centered on agility, dungeoneering, and divination. And I was confused at how they were going to fit all these skills in when we voted on them. But since we are going to be able to be having 3 new adventurers and being able to explore in directions other than Mushenko, it makes sense. Exploring in different directions is also to ensure that we don't get day-long voyages. Although I would be a fan of the super long, week-long voyage with a massive payout, but it would be kind of daring. It would really give like
fail
a
it
good...
though, I would want to kill someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I would dedicate an entire week to one of my ships where it can't get anything, and then it fails and I get nothing from it. That would be horrible.
But it really gives you
it's
like...
only one
If they were to
shot.
do a week-long thing, it shouldn't be you have a chance, either you get everything or nothing.
Yeah.
It would really... Sorry, I'm trying to argue with my echo here. That's weird. It would really give a vibe of the Age of Exploration, though. Like, sending out a voyage, not knowing if it'll succeed or not, having like a 50-50 chance, but I would like to kind of save the character from save the player from unwanted rage. Maybe it would be like a percentage system so that you could get if you failed horribly, you'd get maybe 30% of the reward.
Yeah.
Or if you did spectacularly and you discovered this island that has mystical mermaids who give you free coffee, you get a lot of it.
Oh my god, that is brilliant. Mystical free mermaid coffee things. Please.
You already have mermaids in the game. You already have coffee in the game.
This is why we need Rune Labs.
Oh my god.
Yes,
Better
mermaids giving coffee. Make it an update.
That seems legit.
Oh my god, that's Starbucks.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it is.
It is Starbucks.
Oh god.
Anyways.
Jeez.
Oh my god, it is.
We're all slowly realizing that it's just Starbucks.
I'm slowly realizing what you mean.
I think we're all dying.
I think we are all.
Alright.
Anyway.
They plan to add they plan to add new resources and rewards, which I'm hoping will mean like mammoth ivory or actual coffee or stuff like that. Or maybe even yeah. Maud Rowley also said that he'd like to voyage north and south and west so that maybe we could be able to see Acheron or maybe even go to some ports in Karanja, and that's just what I'm thinking.
He also mentioned Island as a possibility.
Yes, Fossil Island.
Where we could
Lime, have you been hanging out with your sister too much? No, I just like coffee in general, but not Starbucks coffee.
So good.
I
have a problem, okay?
So there may also be level 85 melee and magic weapons, and they plan to make it easier to check and access our voyages. But I'm kind of hoping that we don't only go like combat, maybe give something to the skillers, or give like extra benefits or something.
Some more variety of scrimshaws would be lovely.
Like
There's a lot
divination.
Yeah.
Divination, you could have some new signs or portents or stuff like that.
Didn't they mention they'd
That
do
would be
something
very
like that?
Yeah, he did say, a lot of people suggested, because he was asking for rewards in future updates, and a lot of people suggested some new signs and portents.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the crests of the Divination D&D.
You are.
I'm thinking of the Divination D&D.
Yeah.
But
What
a lot
my
of people
personal-
have been suggesting them on the thread that Rally put up.
Yeah.
My personal hope is that we will also get new buildings and stuff like that
He's confirmed
that we
those.
didn't get in the
That's
past.
confirmed those.
What'd you say?
Oh yes.
Those are completely confirmed.
Good.
We are definitely.
But yeah, that's just my...
perfect.
I'm also hoping for a few more ships, but that's probably not going to happen
He
because
said
we have
one more
all...
ship responsibility.
Oh, sweet. Because 4 ships is not enough. I want to explore even more.
You want all of
So-
the ships.
His plan is to
Yes.
increase the number, or from my understanding, His plan is to increase the number of crew we can have and add an extra ship to this.
Nice. Cool.
That sounds amazing.
I'm just curious.
Also, I'd like some,
Huh?
Alright. Just keep going and hoping that Fang says, oh yeah, that's confirmed. I'm hoping that we'll be able to get some ports, some like ship upgrades from other stuff that we do in ports. Like you have to go and recover this plan for a better stern, and you go out and you go get it, and you come back
Not heard
and
of
you
that,
just
but
build
that's an
that.
amazing idea.
Yeah,
I really like that.
but yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
Uh,
My
You
2
should
coffee.
post that. You should really post that on his thread because he's still gathering ideas.
yeah.
Oh, he is? Oh, I'm going right now then.
Go, go,
Sure,
go.
Please do it. I would love
Yeah.
that kind of game.
But yeah, it looks interesting. I'm curious as to how they'll tie in the ports, like these expansions, especially if they're not, if it's alinear, to the previous ports stuff. I also would hate to be somebody who's just now getting to ports, because that is
That was
a lot.
actually part of the reason I did not want to keep going further, because it was bad enough playing catch-up with the 2 new regions. Imagine having day long.
I'll just be glad I actually have all the port skills I could ever need.
I've got, I mean, I'm still not 90
Seriously,
thieving,
agility, dungeoneering, and divination sounds like a Geena stat of some
but
sort.
it really,
All I need is div.
wait, why is divination a Geena thing?
I don't know, it just feels like something I would care about.
Potential.
I feel like
Yeah, I
sometimes
guess it works.
I feel like people have been voting dungeoneering into things specifically to make it really hard for the devs to come up with a way to tie it in.
Well, I mean, that's it.
Like,
Because that's what you get limiting it to one area
Yeah.
at the start.
Like they,
Exactly.
like I mean, I think it's well documented that we here definitely feel like they could have done so much more with engineering, and they just didn't. Or they,
because instead of it being an exploration, it's learn the mysteries of Daemon High.
Yeah.
It's important.
I mean, and it's just, and I know, and by the fact that people are voting it into other places, it feels like other people think the same way. But it's like, it's way too late for them to go back and change the entire skill, so it's like, yeah. But,
Yeah.
but
But anything they can do to kind of increase its reach is always nice.
yeah. But, so that's ports.
Oh, did we discuss the lore? too?
What'd you say, Fang?
We discussed what their potential story method, or what the story they want to tell if it is.
Did I? No. Did they?
So, they want to do what happened to the Horn after Quinn.
Oh, they didn't they?
Yeah.
It's very exciting, actually. It makes even more sense that since we're going back to the old areas, we're going to continue to explore these prior explored areas with new additions. It makes a lot of sense for us to, kind of go over what happened to the Horn, because it's very likely in one of the locations we've already been. It just makes it even more exciting to me.
Yeah. Alright. So, yeah, and it's worth mentioning here, just while we're talking about the Elder Horn, the Elder Horn was basically an Elder megaphone for the Elder Gods to communicate with the Takar, so.
Can you hear me now, Tokar?
It was nice to get that kind of information too, because it adds a lot to what the Horn is, and why we should care about it.
But yeah, so that is interesting. Alright, but I believe that covers most of what we wanted to mention about ports.
Yep.
Also, probably one of the coolest things that they revealed there, aside from the card game, was the new client.
Oh, wait. Before we do that, I just remembered something that Jack was telling us about Broken Home, actually.
Yeah?
Can I bring that up?
Sure.
Alright, well, apparently Broken Home, and sorry about the drawing noises, something's happening, I guess. Apparently in Broken Home, they had to cut some corners because they had a holiday event budget, and Jack managed to convince them to make both a quest and a holiday event out of it, so praise Jack, I guess.
Yeah.
but they had to cut a few corners, which means that the Broken Home quest will not have as much lore as before. But he did tell us what the lore was originally intended to be, which means that they changed it, so this isn't technically a spoiler. Apparently, the home was supposed to originally belong to a person who was interested in the ruins of Sentistan before.
Ooh.
This was before the museum came around and started digging stuff up, so it was just ruins. So we started collecting a bunch of stuff from the ruins, and apparently there was originally supposed to be like the head of Lornab or a tooth of Lornab hiding in the home somewhere, since it's one of those paraphernalia from Sentistan.
I swear to God, Jack is so dead set on getting Lornab everywhere.
Oh my god.
I know.
I love it so much.
But
And
unfortunately,
Osborn wants Lornab to never see the light of day.
The power struggle is real.
Well, it's hilarious now that the clan Lornab has officially, well, not totally officially, because they haven't released the quest. But the fact that Lornab, the clan, won for the inclusion in the 200th quest, so they have to do something with Lornab now.
It's great.
Yep.
But that's I don't believe
That's the best way to do it.
I don't believe that's the lore of the quest anymore, and I believe the quest was supposed to be lore light because Jack got moved right in the middle of production to a different place, and he was and there was a lot of bogged down of production that the developers had to just move ahead anyways. So Jack will be releasing a lore book either online or like in the quest afterwards.
Oh, nice.
During a replay, which is, damn it.
Thunk, thunk,
Bad things are happening.
Rip line.
Jack also mentioned that he is writing post-quest dialogue for Broken Home.
Awesome. That's good to hear.
But he said that I think there's something like it might not come out with the quest, it might come out after.
Yeah, quest is the week after this release.
Yeah, so it's a week and a half.
So let's just hope it's not Birthright of the Dwarves.
Yeah.
In before 10 months.
Yeah.
10
No.
months later.
But yeah.
Guys, it's finally out.
Yeah, it managed to get to be replayable because specifically because Jack programmed it to be originally, which is nice.
It's also, I still feel pretty good about the lore because Ollie is on it, and Ollie did a great job with the Super Sim Death.
Yeah, hopefully the post-quest information won't be as hard to find as the Gaul.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
Stu
worry,
wasn't involved, so.
Neither was Raven, so we're good.
Yeah.
No, was it? Well, that was easier than last time now.
Dear.
Yeah. Oh, I was so disappointed. The Raven for the Ravenborn thing has me so whiny just because I missed one. I missed it because I couldn't get on.
Okay, I'm only on my first Raven, which I went and hunted
same,
down
Geena.
myself.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah, I have one.
I will get there,
One day.
and I'll probably announce it here by the time it happens, so see you in half a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Back to Broken Home, I'm kind of disappointed that they haven't included a certain character from the novels for the quest. Robo posted a thread on the lore forums, and this was a really prime opportunity to do something more with the novels, connecting to them. So
I would love if Jack was able to.
I would probably appreciate this more if I could actually get my hands on the novels.
Yeah.
Oh god.
but yeah.
It would have been a prime.
I actually managed to buy a novel, like a copy of Betrayal at Ballor at Runefest for £3.
Wasn't that
Which
the
was
first edition copy too? It had the old cover.
Was
All
it?
hail you, Lime.
Because they released an updated copy of it that had, like, you know, they kind of fixed some lore stuff.
Oh, so I got the broken version.
So
Well
I'm
played.
not totally certain. I am not totally certain.
Congrats.
And
I saw a
Betrayal
picture
at
of one of
Falador
them,
doesn't go that deep into lore. It's mostly Legacy of Blood and a bit of Return to Canvas.
Yep.
So that's why I got the book for less pounds than it weighed.
Yeah. But it's a good book. It's a really good book.
Yeah, it's a really good series.
Yep.
I really need to find a copy of the third one and read it.
Anyways, moving on. So they also revealed the new client, which is basically HTML5 on steroids, except without all the performance issues.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah,
kind of
the
funny
reason
because
that-
oh wait, Lime, go.
Go ahead, Kitten.
I kept bringing it up just during the Runefest or RuneScape 2015 presentation. They were showing, I think this is the same thing. They were showing the comparison between like what it was and what it will be, and the game was stuttering so hard on the other side. Oh yeah, it was noticeable because
on our end.
On the stream,
I was watching it on the TV screens that were actually in the room, but it was like the game on one side was stuttering more than the other. So I was like, oh my god, because I actively see that problem if I raise the graphics up. It will just every so often it'll just kind of jitter for like a few seconds, not even a few seconds, but just like half a second, and it's really noticeable. So I'm like, okay, so we're still gonna have lag issues when it comes to heavy graphics. Hopefully not. Hopefully that'll be fixed. But it kept making me laugh. Like, I can see lag.
I didn't see that though. That's
on the stream it was actually like really solid.
Yeah, it was flawless on the stream.
Huh? I have no idea. Whatever they were showing, it just looked funky because or maybe it's just that I see the problem with my own setup every single day. So it might be more obvious, but it's just wow. Okay.
They did say they were going to make a few more tweaks.
Yeah.
Like because they aren't done, or else it would be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
obviously.
it's still a few months. They said they were going to put it into beta a few months away. So it's not even close. But that's a good initial thing. But it's nice that there's something going on with that. Like the HTML5 had so much promise, and then they just could never get it to not lag.
It's also really nice to have confirmation.
The second I logged into the Skybox.
Skybox. Yeah.
Also the issue of just pressing the number 2 and suddenly all of your abilities went off. Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a magical moment. Terrifying.
But yeah. So the new client looks interesting. They said they would have that into beta, what was it, like February or March?
Something like that.
And then who knows, maybe a month or two later it would go live. But yeah, so that's interesting. I'm curious to see where that goes, and I'm looking forward to it. Because the lighting looked amazing, just absolutely amazing. And that's the thing about HTML5. It's the draw distance and the lighting combination that just adds a completely new dimension to the game.
Yeah.
But, so there's that. We don't have anything else to say about the client, do we?
Nope.
Nope. Thanks for looking back at it again. Yay.
Yay.
Yes.
Yay.
They also mentioned stuff about Inventor, because people were asking about it, and people have been thinking about it a bunch recently now that the Elf City has come out. They're considering a change for their ideas for this skill, and it makes sense, and Walter has a good point and a good counterpoint to it. But instead of it being a skill, they're considering things that they were planning on the player making with said skill and just applying them to existing skills, like smithing. Many have argued that this is the easy way out, and a new skill was promised, but it is important to note that they can do the lore of Inventor regardless of whether it's an actual skill or not. This is also regarding the lore of divination and the entire idea around divination. The one advantage of this approach is that the end products are much less likely to be made in mass by higher levels, so it'll make the new training methods retain their value a bit longer. But on the other hand, everyone will be able to make everything from the start, so there will be nothing to reward those dedicated to a new skill in the first few weeks.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Personally, I like the idea of this better. I like it. I like that they're doing it that way because it actually kind of can legitimize different aspects of skills and like bring more interesting stuff in. Like to make smithing and mix it with divination, make something out of that, and just split the experience. Yeah, just split the experience up instead of making it as a totally different skill, but I can see the point of people not having to work for stuff. But
I mean, on the one hand, it's new rewards for old skills, so it does reward those that trained it in the first place. But on the other hand, they would have to be very careful about the way they apply it, because divination would then become entirely useless if they don't do it correctly.
Yeah. I'd love to see, I mean, there's, 12 different divination, 13 because of Elder energies, 13 different divination energies, and I'd love to see all of them have some kind of tie into multiple skills each.
Yeah. That's the other disadvantage of doing it like this, is because they'd only be adding the high level stuff. And so, those lower level energies, because they said they want to just, do the top end of skills and add it there. It means that now all these lower level divination energies just have no use.
Well, that's not entirely true, because they would create them for all levels, but it would only be the high levels that would immediately get used.
That's true.
But the thing is, because Iron Man, I guess Iron Man's doesn't affect the economy at all.
Yeah.
Because it's Iron Man.
Yeah, because Iron Man.
It's
Iron
kind
Man.
of more of even if they add divination-based things in other skills for levels 1 through 99, it doesn't change the fact that because they're not adding a new skill to train it with, that low-level divination energy will never be used.
Well, and then
from generally new players, and not enough that it gives it any value.
I'd just like to say that Osborne was saying in the after party at Runefest, it's not necessarily that they're going to be limited to 13 energies, because they intend on adding a few more Elder energies, because Ma's Elder energy is the lowest form of Elder energy.
Oh, that's true.
So there might also be a thick energy, another, what is it?
When
energy.
Full and Jas.
Jas and Full.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that might be going
Jas.
I think
and then there could be all sorts of other energies that could be made, since, as we know, every god has his own nuance of energy.
That's a good point.
I'd also like to say something about the Inventor skill.
Go.
I'm on the fence, because it feels like this is just a way to cop out of making a skill, as it was saying too, but it also feels like it's a way to cop out of making a comprehensive skill reform, since all of these skills are broken, and, most of these skills are broken, and I don't want it to just be like, we'll tack Inventor onto there, and then problem solved.
Yeah, it's all the production skills that have, we look at the way that skills are now, it is all the gathering skills are reasonably good, and all the production skills are broken.
Are 5 years outdated.
Yeah.
Plus.
Way, way, way outdated. Smithing comes to mind. You have construction comes to mind. You have...
Yep, smithing is broken. I experienced it all the way from level 1 to level 99.
Yeah, I mean, smithing... The big ones are smithing and construction, but there's also several others that are equally bad. Herblore isn't really any better. Yeah, it has content all the way up to 99, and it's getting another huge batch, but it's still strange. Summoning is awful if you consider that a production skill, because it basically is.
Summoning got a nice buff with the recent changes, though. To be fair, combat familiars are actually of use.
I'm not talking. I'm talking about the training method.
It's not so much about use. It's just spamming pouches and then just dumping them into the market.
Yeah, it's pouch making skill, and they've talked about that in the past.
My other big problem with Inventor not being a skill is that it means divination still doesn't have an energy sink that's worth using.
Yeah.
There's a reason that every single energy is hovering around 100 gold now.
But you also have to think that if they do add these things, it sounds, cause what did they mention? They said something about, I'm looking for it in the thread. Leveling up gear would likely boost their niche uses more than power itself, like additional damage, the critical hit, or a poison, or weapon poison being a few examples. These things will be something you would have to reapply over and over and over again to keep...
I'm a big fan of that.
And that would be a sink in its own right, especially for the higher level energies. You don't expect that the low level stuff will always retain a significant amount of value. It's the high level stuff that really matters, and if if you have to reapply the high level energies to some of this stuff, and they could also make it so that that the upgrades or the various things, they use a multitude of energies. Like you have to use two or three tiers below it to make it work or something. Like there's all sorts of things they can do.
I just want them to definitely be certain to make sure there are sinks for it, because divination itself was purposely designed with that thought in mind of, there's going to be a companion skill, we'll use more energy there. And as such, energy costs on divination are very cheap. Mm-hmm. So you retain a lot of it. But as such, it means that if there never ends up being a major use for the energy, it's never going. Even the 99 is never going to have much value.
Yeah.
So I hope they deal with it.
I'm just really glad that I got 99 divination when I did and made 330 mil when I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of back to like the energy use. That's what I meant to say when you brought up like, well, there's no use for lower level energy. All you really need to do is just like make it so like you can't do something super high level without having to use like pale energy for something.
Mm-hmm.
Just in some like somehow make it like Timbo the balance guy. Thanks, chat. Just make it like in some way just have either a lore reason or like mechanical reason, who knows what, for having to have a very strong potent energy and one that really doesn't add up to make something do something else.
Might be something cool to ask Timbo if we can ever get him on here.
Yeah. Apparently he listens to us. Apparently.
Hi, Timbo.
Timbo!
Hi, Timbo.
Hi, Timbo's mom.
Timbo!
Timbo's mom. But yeah.
But on a completely different note, well, not completely, I was watching the RS 2015, and I was looking at the concept art of all of the inventor stuff, and it all looks really, really cool. And I especially noted, like, there are dwarven influences in Inventor. Like, some of those devices, they looked dwarven. So I'm really happy that the lore will be moving forward regardless, and I'm happy that many races are going to be involved with this divination movement, because this is a series that I'm really looking forward to for a long time.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see everything finally come together.
Yeah, lots of different directions.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm just happier that there's something, that there's word on this, because I've been wondering about it. I know that a lot of people have been, and just knowing where their heads are on this is way more than what we've had for the past 6 months or so, really, ever since the poll. And I mean, the poll was actually quite close. Like, it was, 55-45? Like, it was not overwhelmingly Priff.
It was
it was
60.
Very, very.
I know I voted Inventor,
so
and I don't regret that one bit.
Yeah. I'm so curious how Inventor would have turned out if we ended up voting for it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't...
Also,
I'm glad we have Priff, don't get me wrong, but...
Same.
What line?
it's important to know that they're still going to be polling it, like whether it should be going into the new version or the old version. So I'm glad that players still have like a voice in all of this. Like, I'm really thankful for all of that.
I just want to see construction and smithing reworks. I really do.
That's huge in my book. Those are some things that really need to happen next year.
Mm-hmm.
Construction and smithing for sure.
Construction more than smithing, but they both need it. Construction is awful. Smithing is almost passable. Almost.
Smithing just needs high-level content that isn't level 50.
Yeah. Yep.
Smithing needs to be
and it has some of it, but just the fact that level 50 gear is still level 99 is still a problem.
Yeah.
There's no denying that. But construction needs it, smithing doesn't, I would argue.
Like, all the clarity on this stuff is incredible, and I love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm really appreciatory that they were so open about what they wanted to do with it now.
But yeah, so some things to think about with the inventor rethink, as it were. Moving on, there's a couple more major things to talk about with the content updates. One huge one is World Event 3. And the way that they've put this forth is really interesting. It's going to be the players versus Tuska. And cue Tuska concept art. Hold on, Tuska.
Yeah, literally just...
She looks a whole lot less like a pig than thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, she's a god nonetheless.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm also actually kind of glad we didn't get a Tuska quest and they're actually doing an out of her. I feel like this is a much better way to play her.
yeah. But as we know, Tuska stampedes from world to world, breaking worlds apart and eating their life force. Om nom nom.
Yes.
Tuska has a giant portal on her back, and her harbingers emerge from it, causing destruction to anything they touch. Players will have to work together to using skill, cunning, and brute force as she stampedes across the world. There's no guarantee that players will win, but even if they do, there will be massive, long-lasting ramifications on the world. They have ideas for endgame battles, grouping in multi-stage conflicts, watching her chew the world up, but the final shape will be up to players through the poll.
Walter didn't mention this on the thread, but I believe Mark said explicitly that content will literally be spiraling out of her because she's so unstable as a goddess because she's not sentient.
Well, she's semi-sentient. Like, she is sentient, but kind of not really.
She doesn't really care what she's doing. She just wants.
Yeah, she's feral. That's the best way of putting it.
Well said.
I have to say, she looks like one of those monsters from Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Kaiju, yeah.
Kaiju.
Yeah, those are fun.
It's gonna be fun.
We need to build giant robots and punch her in the face.
Yeah.
Just build giant line bots.
This is why inventor and smithing reworks must happen. It's the only way to build a giant robot.
Oh, dear God.
This is exactly
Maybe they were planning on getting inventor before the World Event 3 so that we could build a really big robot.
If you build it, they will come.
Half the world is us just building the robot.
Or maybe that's...
Robot Gothics, guys.
Oh, dear God.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The Ascended guys were onto something.
Yeah, maybe they weren't so wrong.
Come on, guys. 2-3 sentences. Submit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make, make
giant
Ascension Dungeon Gothics relevant, in parentheses, Pacific Rim, please. There, done. Make it happen, guys.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 2 or 3 words. It can be a full sentence.
No, we have to keep it, like, tiny.
How much of a run-on sentence do you think they'll accept?
Entire page.
Yeah, once it starts hitting one page, then they'll probably be like, shut up.
No, denied.
Anyways. It is interesting that skilling options weren't mentioned. Both World Event 1 and 2 had skilling options, but it seems like...
No, they did say by skilling, battling, cunning.
Yeah, by using skill, cunning, and brute force, but that doesn't necessarily mean skilling.
That's true.
So they weren't specifically mentioned, but I'm sure that they'll have something. And what Walter says in the thread is that hopefully it doesn't outright kill Tuska, because Osborne's goddess deserves better than that.
Yeah.
While
go on. I'm pretty glad that they decided that they've made it kind of obscure whether or not they'll kill her off, because I raged a lot when they announced killing off Bandos. Like, I did that whole forum post with like, how many? 2,000 posts? Something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. While Guthix isn't the most popular goddess, it seems to like a ways to bring her in just to kill her within a single event. The way I see this, the way that they...
But Guthix isn't female. What are you doing?
I said Tuska.
He meant Tuska.
No, you said Gothic.
God damn it. I meant Tuska. But
You've officially lore fed.
I did, what else is new? But the way I see the way that they word, could I say that any worse?
Possibly.
Probably. From what they've said, the way I see it is that they're not killing her, is that if you look at the concept art that is currently on screen, they're like swords sticking out of her. She's clearly been through many of these kind of battles, and it sounds like our entire goal is just to make her go away.
Yeah.
Like, the goal isn't to kill her,
Tuska,
it's
fuck
just
off.
to make her go away. And
To stop her from killing us.
yes. And if they approach it in that way, it could be, there is virtually no downside to the event. As long as we actually do make her go away. And before we don't and she eats the entire world. But
Yeah, I'm kind of curious, because they said, like, the state of the world afterwards will be up to us, but what happens if we lose?
If we lose, there will be no more Catherby.
That'd be perfect.
Support.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, just have Tuska go over and like sit on Catherby.
or Remington.
Yeah, or sit on Remington.
Or McGruber's
Yeah,
Wood.
she can sit on Remington and stamp on Catherby.
Pretty good.
Do you think her
We
butt's
don't know
that
how
big?
big she is, but yeah. She
Wasn't-
seems
wasn't
rather
there-
large, but
She's got to be big enough to sit on Remington and stamp Catherby.
Wasn't there a discussion like a long time ago that we mentioned where someone had said, some mod had said like, Tuska's hoof would be like all of Gielinor if she just showed up. So it made me kind of think of like, kind of the scaling idea with gods, how they can be giant or tiny.
that's true. Yeah.
So I was kind of thinking like, how is this gonna work?
I thought that was only the Elder Gods were that big. I don't think Tuska was ever considered that big.
I don't know, but there was something mentioned a long time ago. It's in some cast from God knows when.
To be fair,
But-
if she's devoured the other world's life forces, though, I mean...
then it'd be kind of like allow her to be physically large.
She is huge. I talked to Monster about this a while back, and basically, she can resize herself, and he implied that Tuska was already colossal before she ascended.
Yeah.
It sounds like she could be several hundred times more powerful than Guthix, because Guthix only had one anima to work with. Tuska had devoured a dozen worlds.
Maybe in Raw...
At the same time...
Go on.
Go first. You go first.
It's saying maybe in raw power, but Guthix knew how to use his power in an intelligent way, and generally intelligence, in this case, intelligence will trump just brute force.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I do think that if Guthix wanted to, he still has the potential to be more destructive than Tuska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same with Zeros and Saren, really. Now that they've...
I'm half convinced that Tuska could have beaten down the edicts.
I think it's just...
Go on. By pure force.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's less that she's actually more powerful. She just has the brute, like, the difference, like, what we found is that just using the Stone of Jas doesn't automatically make you tier 2. It was using it in a specific way that made Guthix so immensely powerful. And Tuska probably ate a god. That's probably how Tuska ascended. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah,
that's probably what happened.
So she's basically the anti-Bresk.
Yes.
Technically.
He was eaten by a god and killed them. Definitely.
But yes, Tuska almost certainly ate a god and became, and ascended by that. I mean, we don't know that for sure, but I mean, yeah.
She could have swallowed an Elder Artifact.
I guess that would also be a thing.
And it's giving her serious indigestion, which is why she is attempting
which is why she has a portal on her back.
Crazy thought. What if Guthix tried to kill her with the Edict sword? and she devoured the shattered remains of it, and that's why she's
Well,
immortal.
didn't he fight her with said sword?
Yeah, she was
Also,
already a god before.
she was a god beforehand.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Dang it.
Whatchamacallit. Back to my crazy theory. She wallowed in older artifact, and she's eating planets to relieve her constipation.
That's awful.
I know where this is going, and it's getting terrible.
That's awful. Anyways, moving on.
There's one thing I wanted to say. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Just move on.
Yeah.
I'll probably post some forum post suggestion about World Event 3 at some point.
Yeah.
I just hope that,
out.
yes, I just hope that skill and cunning does not result in chopping down a pillar on top of the portal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the portal's on her
pillars
back,
will be
though.
involved somehow.
Is it wrong that I would totally support this just so we can all rage at it?
Oh my
No.
god.
That's not right.
Nope.
Please, no.
Nope.
Yeah.
No more.
Bang, that is not a valid reason.
Anyways.
I think we've
Anyways.
had enough.
Valid if I wanted to be, gosh.
Anyways, it's worth mentioning Tuska can't be controlled or reasoned with. She does have player followers, and they're quite likely nervous right now. Yeah.
She has like 3 player followers.
Yeah, there's probably like a grand total of 3, but there are 3, and they will be the loudest whiners on the forums. Anyways.
Other than me.
No.
Anyways, I think that covers what we wanted to mention about World Event 3. They also maybe teased that they wanted to make another God Wars dungeon. Walter says they'd better not be making a Guthix God Sword. It could be an interesting higher level version of the God Wars dungeon. It could also be lower level, which would be interesting.
I'm so curious where they would put it and just slot it into the world.
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of places they could put it. They could make a new island for it if they really wanted to. Like,
yeah, the reason the current one works is because they all froze.
Yeah,
it's just I'm so curious where they could put it. Fossil Island?
And before
maybe
under
make
Sentista.
it like a 6th. Maybe make it like a 6th age team thing.
It could also be some kind of portal that takes you into almost another dimension where something is still going on.
That's a thought.
But they could put it in useless place number 1, aka Remington.
Yep. They seem to like to put things in.
I don't think we have any sense of the actual numbers anymore.
I'm pretty sure Remington was number 1, McGruber's Wood was number 2, and I can't remember where was number 3.
Probably Catherby.
They put it on the drug plane. Yes, Remington.
Yes.
Support.
Yeah. Yeah, because then, I mean, what would the reasoning behind another God Wars dungeon be? Like, you'd have to...
Yeah, there needs
I
to
don't
be a
know.
reason.
I want to know a good lore reason, not just like, stuff's in a dungeon, let's go kill it.
Yep.
I'd like a reason for them to actually do another one rather than just be like, oh, that sounds cool, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there needs to be a good reason.
What about in Lumbridge, with all the Anima Mundi, all that energy, could that tear a hole in space-time and teleport you to another location where all these monsters are, or in fact pull them all towards you in a dungeon?
That just sounds crazy enough that it might actually be plausible.
Now, see, that would actually be kind of cool using the giant rift that's still in Lumbridge.
Yeah. They could also use the Wildy. Very, very easily use the Wildy.
Especially if you've seen old school RuneScape's version of it.
Old school's Wildy?
Yeah, they have a mini God Wars dungeon in there. It's like a PvP dungeon.
Yeah.
With Avian Sea, and it's like connected to the God Wars dungeon.
So effectively, it's not even old school anymore.
Yeah.
It's new school with crappy graphics.
Well, we knew that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
People...
Yeah, I mean,
just a
they're
side
making
note.
they're making a new continent for old school. It's not 07.
It's still 07scape. Anyways.
Okay.
Oh
boy.
But yeah. So that new God Wars dungeon, interesting. That's something we'll have to hear more about in the future.
I guess that's where they can put next hard mode.
Oh dear God.
Other next.
A couple quick things about the Elf City. There's a Crystal Cow confirmed for Batch 2.
Yay!
They hope to voice Saren's crystals. It wasn't done with batch 1 since they would have to bring in the voice actor twice, and that's more resources than they wanted to spend if they didn't have to. And the agility won't happen throughout the entire city anymore. It'll take place on top of the monastery and the surrounding cliffs of Heaven. So that's worth mentioning before anybody starts raging about it. Also, there's some kind of a minigame spotlight that they want to think about for next year, and they just want to think about minigames more, I guess. They need reasons to go back to it over time, like Barbasalt has now, and a few of the other ones do, to get rewards, to continue getting rewards. But that's the problem with a lot of the old minigames, that you get all the rewards and then you're done and you never go back. And they want you to go back. So one thing that they were thinking about is doing the minigame spotlight, where they focus on a minigame for a certain period of time with a pool of rewards, and it shifts over to another minigame, etc.
It seems to be like, somebody running this, spotlight bonus rewards for doing that. I bet they could work it in pretty nicely with the lore and just have fun with it.
Yeah. And for some kind of a minigame spotlight, why does it even have to play into the lore, though? Honestly.
Oh, it's more fun that way.
I know it is more fun, but for some things it really just don't even need it.
It does say a lot, though, that their most popular minigame is the one that requires 1 billion games for a cupcake.
Oh, those Castle Wars? Yeah.
Well, then it just turns into Castle Wars, and you just sit around and do nothing, and as long as you're getting the requirement in the laziest way possible, then it's a thing, so it's still defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
They call it their most popular minigame.
Well, because technically it is, but that's because of the obscene requirement. There isn't. If that requirement didn't exist, would anybody actually play it?
No. Very few.
It actually has some of the worst rewards in the game.
Yeah, if you just look at numbers, then yes, of course, there's tons and tons of people playing it, but that's just because
they have
nothing better to do, and they can't. Yeah, they're all AFK. They all sit around. If you go in, it's depressing to actually play, but
not Castle Wars anymore.
But yeah,
just when we said smithing was 5 years outdated, minigames are 10 years outdated.
Yeah, minigames are even worse.
They offer rewards for just such low levels or such little use that there's no value.
Just look at Trouble Brewing. People, especially in this podcast, always say Trouble Brewing is a lot of fun to play, but there's literally no incentive to play it.
Yeah, that's the only thing you need it for.
Yeah.
You can buy so much of it from a single game that you don't have to go back for.
It's not even that. It's not even that it doesn't have any rewards. It's just that most minigames don't have enough rewards. Blast Furnace. I tried to do Blast Furnace while I was going on my way to 99 smithing.
I did a bunch of that.
And even though it was a way to make money while smithing, completely abandoned.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because the amount of money that you make is it's tied to the price of rune, so it will never be greater than about 800k to 1 mil an hour, which is nothing compared to a huge number of
yeah, it's a lot easier to just go PVM or something,
yeah,
and then go to artisans.
Well, yeah, because you can make so much more money doing other things than you can.
Even rune crafting,
so much potential.
Because the XP is so slow.
Yep.
It has so much potential to be a great minigame, as all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they just need some love.
But yeah, I did Blast Furnace. If you go on the dedicated Blast Furnace world, there may still be people there, but you did?
No one, absolutely no one.
That's a shame.
Actually, no. There were 2 people on a good day.
Yeah, when I was there, because this was 3 years ago,
Actually,
2 years ago,
during rush hour.
Almost 3 years ago. This was at the beginning of 2012, maybe end of 2011. When I was spamming out smithing, I went from 90 to 91 smithing purely doing smithing rune bars at the blast furnace, and there was actually a reasonably significant community of people that were there doing it. But I guess that's fizzled out over the last few years with new training methods and new stuff in general.
Yeah. I think it's because at the time, the experience difference between it and, not it was not as large as it is now.
Well, I mean, the increase of smithing XP, smithing hasn't had any changes. Artisan's Workshop was already existed.
Yeah.
So that wasn't it. Like, it's probably just, like, the money-making sources of players has in general gone up. Like, there's more stuff that makes money, so there's less reason. Yeah, there's more bosses. Yeah, there's less reason to do that, as opposed to something like, I don't know, like your normal, like, goldsmithing or something, which is still pretty cheap, but is a lot quicker. And easier. A lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, rip Blast Furnace. I love that minigame.
You will be missed.
But yeah, so the minigame spotlight, that's a thing. They also, this is something I found interesting. It does not really much to discuss, but they think they found a way to make combat multi-way and make only allow one enemy to attack you at once if you're not attacking more than one. Which means that aggressiveness from Slayer critters can return. And thank God for that.
Yeah, finally.
Because that's something I've always kind of complained about with the new combat system, is that nothing's aggressive when it should be. Like, really should be.
Petting zoo.
Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, the ancient petting zoo.
Mm-hmm.
The one aggressive creature in there being the Hellhounds.
Yeah.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
The ancient petting zoo. That's great.
That's fantastic.
That's great. I've never thought of it that way. But yeah, that's. I mean, I just remember going through there, running through the ancient cavern, and back like the first few times before EOC, like, because I never really went in there because I wasn't high enough Slayer, but and just getting mauled by brutal greens.
Oh my god.
Just getting mauled by them. And now it's like, okay.
Hello, strangely unaggressive creature.
Yeah. And then getting mauled by water fiends too.
Oh my god, and then like 500 of them just converge on your location.
Yep.
You're running desperately past, like clicking your food as fast as you
Yeah,
can.
that's pretty much how it was.
Yeah.
At least for lower levels. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are LOL raids that they want to put in, and that's all I'm going to say about
excited for that. If they do it right.
Raids will apparently be for both skillers and PVMers, and will be accessible for all levels.
I
like that idea.
Night before.
Say that again?
I was chatting with Mark about combat at night before, and he actually mentioned they were going to be revealing that. And then I watched the content session. It's like, that's shit. They told us nothing aside from we're putting them in.
Well, they probably can't reveal mechanics of it. They just have the idea for it.
Yeah, they probably don't even have mechanics for it yet. They're thinking about doing it.
Yeah, they obviously don't have everything planned, but I like the idea, at least if it happens, just because, I don't know, I think it's an interesting system just as long as it's not too, like, here's what we tried to do, here's what Warcraft tried to do, and now we're gonna put it in here. Like, as long as it's not like some weird knockoff, or, like, same system from a different game blatantly attempted to be put into RuneScape or something, but yeah, as long as it's interesting, then.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah. So I think that pretty much covers most of the content. Is there anything that I missed?
Not that I can think of.
I don't think so. I think I hit on everything. But yeah, so I'm gonna actually split this video up into two parts. So this is gonna be at the end of part 1, and there will be a link in the video and stuff to go into part 2. Part 2 will be all about the lore. And yeah, so we'll see you in just a moment for that.